Okay, so you've seen the person, you're ready to complete the note, you've made decisions, you've written prescriptions. What else needs to be done? You've planned ahead, you've ordered x-rays. Well, you need to send off the x-rays, you need to send prescription. Maybe you referred the person to a specialist. A referral is done by clicking on treatment. And then in this box, where is it? Outgoing referral right there. You want to refer to them to a particular provider. You click on this little box here. You start searching, and we'll send her to Dr. Faruqi, the gastroenterologist. When it has a little green P, it means it's activated for peer-to-peer. So documentation can be sent electronically, which makes insurance companies happier. You click OK, and then you need to put screening colonoscopy, or you can just put eval and treat, and you can click send referral electronically, which sometimes is slower. So a lot of times I'll just click fax and fax it to Dr. Faruqi, and he'll know to contact the patient to set up a follow-up. You don't have to do this. Our front office will also review these regularly, and they'll send off a referral if it's needed, if it's an HMO. So if you just want to make sure the referral is documented, you can just click save and it's ready to do. If you don't know which specialist you want to send to, you can just put gastroenterology, or if the person's not in our database, you can click Dr. Smith downtown, ask patient. So when they're checking out, it'll tell the front desk, hey, you need to check with this patient about exactly which doctor. Try not to slow down with, referral process, but do make it in there. You're referring to a gastroenterologist. If you can be specific, that's great. Otherwise, just hit save, or you can send it if you want to. You can fax it if you want to also. Okay, so, we're going to send the prescription in. Prescriptions should always be sent electronically. Also, I don't think I mentioned, when you choose prescriptions, you always need to have this Multum RX. If you have, there's all kinds of different formularies you can use with prescriptions. So if you have it under all, you can use customized things, but they can't be sent electronically. A good example is prednisone. I have a customized prednisone taper that I have in here. But if you have it like this, you'll have to fax the prescription, not e-prescribe. And at least 90% of prescriptions should be e-prescribed. So just keep that in mind. You can customize things, but always look for this check mark, which means it's listed under this Multum RX. So most of the time you should have this Multum RX formulary chosen to make it easier and automatically only give you the checked options. You don't see that taper available here. If you want to see the taper, or we'll send something for this Ritchie's Pharmacy compound cream. So we'll type in Ritchie's. Here's some compounded creams that we'll do, and we type in the customized things. But again, those are not e-prescribed. So back to actually sending the prescription. Right here it says print the prescription, which you should almost never need to do. When you click the little green arrow, you click e-prescribe or fax. In this case, we'll e-prescribe it. You look, and Xanaflex is not complete, and Valium's not complete. So I'm going to unclick those and unclick that, and you just click send e-prescription, and I'm not going to do that because it will actually send in and test to this pharmacy, and they'll be wondering why we did that. You can put a note to the pharmacist. There's some quick notes that say, call us if there's a problem, let the person know that they need a visit next time we send in the prescription, Spanish labeling if they speak Spanish. So those are just some common quick notes that you don't have to put in there, but you can. And so these prescriptions are ready to send, and just click e-prescribe. If you want to fax it, you click this little green arrow, fax prescription. Make sure it's the correct pharmacy. If you want to change it, you click here. Here's the list of the pharmacists. We want to send it to Gloyers. Choose Gloyers. If Gloyers change their address, you'll update the prescription right here. Try not to mess with that too much if you don't know what you're doing. So we'll just click preview fax. And this is exactly what the pharmacist is going to be looking at. Right here, you didn't fill this in for gentamicin solution, so it says NA, and that's an error message for the pharmacy, so make sure that's filled out. But this is basically what they're going to be looking at. Now, a controlled medicine like a sleeping pill or a muscle relaxer, this is an electronic, and it says electronically generated signature. This is not valid for a controlled medicine. So if you're not an authorized provider, in that case, you can go ahead and print out the prescription and give what's called a wet signature. So it'll print out blank and you'll sign it yourself with an actual pen and hand it to the person to bring to the pharmacy. Otherwise, controlled medicines can't be sent in Texas anymore electronically. Valium, I didn't fill it in, so it's going to be an invalid prescription. And this also said 3 times a day, and that's not nice. So I'm going to hit cancel. We're not going to actually send it. That's how you send prescriptions. For x-ray orders, you'll click fax, click this little arrow right here, diagnostic imaging, and if I want to send the fax to somewhere, do it there. Fax procedures, there's different fax options. If I want to fax the whole note, I'll go up here, and this is different styles of note structure. Usually modern 2 is kind of the nicest, cleanest. If you look at it, this is what will be faxed through. It's a pretty well organized thing. If you click fax with bulleted, it shows up slightly differently, more bulleted form. So it depends on your preference. So I'm going to fax the imaging things to the imaging facility. That's the mammogram and MRI. I'll click OK. Click facilities. And when you look for, at first, here's some of the common facilities right away under name A, just to say, so they pop at the top. For Tomball imaging, you need to add a 1. Also, some of these other places, and under code it says add a 1. It means when you're faxing it, you need to put a 1 in front of the number, or it won't go through correctly because our fax machine is an old style for some bad reason. For other radiology companies, you'll put radiology, and here's a whole bunch of options. So if we want to send it to Conroe Regional, we'll click that one, and it says add 1. So we hit OK. And then right before the 936, we put a 1 and a dash. And this will fax this order to that radiology facility. You see, this is what they're going to see. So now you've actually seen the person. You've sent prescriptions. You entered referrals. You sent radiology. They're pretty much done. You want to choose the visit code correctly. Make sure if they're an established patient versus, oh, there's too much stuff here. We decided not to do all this stuff. We want to stop a code, we'll click remove. If you want to add another visit, click add E&M. And here's some of the options. These are for established patient codes, level 1 through level 5. This is a hospital follow-up within 14 days, within 7 days. These reimburse at a much higher level, and I'll talk about those at a different video. Here's new patient codes from level 1 to level 5. I codes we don't use. Psychiatry we don't use. Nursing home, here's initial skilled nursing versus a nursing home visit. Subsequent skilled nursing, assisted living, home visit. For some reason, assisted living initial doesn't show up. You have to click all Uh, and there's assisted living codes: initial low, moderate, high, and then high. And preventative medicine wellness visits for different age groups, established patient and new patient. That's pretty much everything you need to remember for coding. When you click follow up, you should almost never put PRN. You should have a clear idea of when they need to be seen again. Maybe it's a year from now. You click 1 year. And there's a quick note here that says for the front desk, schedule for 1 year, and it should be wellness. I like to capitalize to make it very clear to the front desk. And also tells them to have labs 1 week prior to their visit. And this tells them to schedule 2 visits, one for the follow-up visit and one for the labs the week prior. And the front desk should know to schedule 2 visits. After that, click done, and it puts a check mark and it tells them you're ready to bill. And that's it. You move to the next patient. Now, all these videos took about an hour. It shouldn't take that long to see an actual patient, but this is a pretty broad overview of what's needed to get in front of a patient.